Welcome to the next session of She and Rights Live from Women Deliver Conference 2026, where we will get to know more about two other important gender equality related conferences this year. The first one is the Pan-African Conference on Youth and SRHR, organized by Reproductive Health Network in Kenya, or RHNK as we call it. And the second one is Sexual Violence Research Institute, or SVRI Forum 2026. She and Rights Live at the Women Deliver Conference 2026 sessions are being hosted at D03 Exhibition Space in Narrm, Melbourne, Australia. All sessions are hybrid, live streamed, and host online and on-site speakers and participants including media. She and Rights is co-hosted by Global Center for Health Diplomacy and Inclusion, SEHDI, and CNS, with partners like RHNK, SVRI, Women Deliver Conference 2026, International Planned Parenthood Federation, IPPF, Asian Pacific Resource and Research Center for Women, ARROW, Asia Pacific Media Alliance for Health, Gender and Development Justice, APCAT Media, and Health TV Online Nepal. I welcome my friend and fellow feminist leader, Nelly Munyasia, Executive Director of Reproductive Health Network in Kenya, that is RHNK, a member organization of International Planned Parenthood Federation.
Hi everyone, my name is Nelly Munyasia, Executive Director, Reproductive Health Network Kenya. I'm really excited that we will be hosting our 9th RHNK Pan-African Adolescent and Youth Sexual and Reproductive Health Scientific Conference. We are doing this with the Government of Kenya, the Ministry of Health, the Government of Uganda, the Ministry of Health, Africa CDC, co-convening with other partners including the Center for Reproductive Rights, Amplify Girls, among other key stakeholders. This is a unique convening that whose theme is strengthening sexual and reproductive health and rights to achieve youth agency, full potential, and meaningful participation in Africa's dynamic social-political and economic landscape. We all know what is currently happening globally with all the changes that are happening. We know the dwindling funding landscape. And so this convening provides an opportunity for us to have conversations that affect African youth. We know that they are the next leaders. And so we are bringing together policymakers, bringing together leaders, bringing together philanthropy, but also the adolescent and youth themselves, plus people that program around adolescent and youth, including even the healthcare providers that provide services. And because we want to sit down and have conversations around what is affecting adolescent and youth in the continent, but also try and find solutions that can be solved within our African continent, but also importantly, ensure that all the investments that we have are able to solve the issues. But we can only solve this when we bring this, when we have these conversations and we think about how do we anchor them to the systems that exist, because we know that continuously the issues adolescent and youth face, especially the triple threat, where we are seeing HIV reinfections going up, we are seeing the issues of gender-based violence, teen pregnancy continuously happening. We've seen we no longer are not having contraceptives and adolescents cannot access this. And so we want to have conversations with government also and see if we can already have, domestic financing where governments are committing to this. We want to see how do philanthropy support high impact, investments where this is being done alongside partners, but also with government at the center of it so that we are finding long-term solutions. This is a convening you do not want to miss because we are bringing the change for adolescent and youth in Africa, by Africa, but importantly, with youth leaders that will be at the center of it. We have youth leaders, representatives from across Africa that have been going through a leadership journey, and they have been part of the co-creation of this conference, and they've been telling us what are the priorities, what are the issues, and what change do they want to see. And this conference will be happening from the 2nd to the 5th of June 2026 in Mombasa, Kenya, at Whitesand's Hotel. Kindly rush to our website and register so that you're not left out. It will be a very beautiful convening, important conversations, deliberations will be made affecting adolescent and youth in the continent, and you do not want to be left out. Thank you so much and see you in Mombasa.
Thank you so much, Nelly, for introducing us to 9th Reproductive Health Network in Kenya's Pan-African Adolescent and Youth SRHR conference this year. And we really look forward and wish you the best for a very successful conference. And now let us know more about SVRI Forum, the Sexual Violence Research Institute Forum 2026. We have amongst us Lizle. Lizle serves as SVRI Forum and Partnership Lead. So welcome, Lizle, and we look forward to hearing more about SVRI Forum. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lizle, the SVRI Forum and Partnership Lead at the Sexual Violence Research Initiative, a global network advancing research and practice on violence against women, violence against children, and other forms of violence driven by gender inequality. To join you here today and for the opportunity to talk about the SVRI Forum, something I'm always very happy to do. Picture a room with more than 1,500 people from over 100 countries. Researchers, practitioners, policymakers, activists, donors, and people with lived experience, all in one place. Most are from low and middle income countries, leading the work in these settings. This is intentional. It reflects years of building a field shaped by those works that have historically been under-researched and under-resourced. That room is the SVRI Forum, our flagship global event on research and practice to end violence against children, and other forms of gender-based violence. It takes place every 2 years, and in 2026, we will gather in Bangkok, Thailand, from the 5th until the 9th of October. For many of us, the forum is not just another conference. It is the space that shapes how we think about our work in the years between gatherings. It is where evidence meets practice and where practice and policy push back on what the evidence still misses. For example, in 2024, a single week in Cape Town brought together a study on long-term evidence from Rwanda showing violence reduced by more than half through a fatherhood program. We saw a study on 9-year data from Bangladesh demonstrating how cash transfers combined with behavior change can improve women's long-term safety. And we also saw large-scale service integration across Libya, Syria, and Iraq, where hundreds of primary healthcare centers doubled access to support for survivors. That is the texture of the forum. Evidence tested over time, adapted across contexts, and implemented at scale. But the forum is more than its formal program. Alongside the abstract-driven sessions, we host exhibitions where organizations share intervention models, digital tools, and community-led programs already being used in practice. It is often where people encounter something they weren't necessarily looking for, but end up taking home and adapting. We also create space for participant-driven events where attendees bring emerging issues, test new thinking, and convene conversations that do not yet have a formal home. These spaces often become the starting point for collaborations that continue, and connection is designed, not left to chance. We actively support early career researchers and practitioners to engage with more established leaders in the field. For 2026, the field has been clear about what it needs the forum to hold. Through a global consultation, participants have called for deeper engagement on backlash, rights erosion, and shifting geopolitical contexts, technology-facilitated gender-based violence, artificial intelligence, and digital surveillance are firmly on the agenda. So too are the links between climate, economic stress, and violence. And across all of this, a strong call to move more quickly from research to implementation. We also work intentionally to make this a space people can access. Bangkok was chosen in part for its visa accessibility. We offer a sliding registration scale and are actively fundraising for bursaries. Trained counselors are on site, and well-being is built into the process. And there is something else that matters. There is joy. People reconnect, build friendships, share meals, and create the kinds of relationships that sustain this work over time. Because ending violence is not only about generating evidence, it is about that evidence moves, who holds it, and what we do with it together. What begins at the forum does not stay there. Collaborations are formed, ideas travel programs, policies, and research agendas across the world. We would love to have you in Bangkok this October. Registration is currently open at www.svriforum2026.org. And my colleagues Sangeeta and Preeti are in the room if you'd like to talk more about partnerships or sponsorship opportunities, or if you'd just like to find out a little bit more about how to get involved in the forum this year. Thank you again, and I wish you a wonderful Women Deliver. Goodbye.
Friends, the glacier of patriarchy will not melt on its own. And perhaps calling it a glacier is not a good analogy, as patriarchy is explosive for our lives like a volcano. But the clarity is crystal clear within us that we have to reclaim the feminist narrative and our long overdue rights, entitlements, and privileges. Gender inequalities and injustices must end with us.